welcome back to the class, everyone. Today we are going to continue talking about Datacrons. The purpose of this video today is to kind of finally come to some conclusions on what we've really just been kind of ranting about. For anyone following the podcast or seeing me in other mediums recently, I've kind of just been going on long strings of tangents about random thoughts about Datacrons, and I figured it was finally time to get an organized grouping of things that I think can be talked about, and I really think that these could be solutions for Datacrons going forward. They are in the game, they are going to be a part of things now, whether we really like it or not. I still don't love the idea for a few reasons, and we'll get into that, but at the same time, this is still an exhibition stage. If we can, as a community, word these things in a way that's constructive enough that CG can hear it, maybe, and maybe I'm reaching here, maybe we'll actually be able to see a change. Either way, I would just like to get this off my chest. A few things that I think could make Datacrons better. I thought about wording this video or the slide constructive criticism, but really what I want changes, I want solutions. I don't just want to nitpick at what I think could be better, but I want to say how it could be better. So that being said, let's go ahead and get started. First one. Datacrons, temporary by nature. So this is reason zero, and the reason why, or the solution, is just it doesn't exist. One of my big problems with Datacrons going forward is the fact that they're temporary, and I don't think this is really movable. So this isn't a solution. This is just something I think we have to get out of the way, because when we're looking at making these better, this really is the first problem. The fact that they are temporary. I've worded this in a number of ways. I really don't like this because I don't think it accurately respects the knowledge that I put into the game. If I go ahead and memorize a new Datacron that comes out, that information is now useless after the next 3 months. It's not something that keeps going like a current mechanic, like a Zeta, an Omicron, a new character, an Ultimate, etc. I have that issue, but there's no solution to this. If you take away the fact that Datacrons are temporary, they're no longer Datacrons. They're just a Zeta, or they're an Omicron, or they're a mod. There's nothing new, there's nothing fresh, there's nothing really keeping them within their own identity without that. So we don't have a solution for that. I'm just wanting to put it out there because I feel like that's something that everybody would say if we didn't at least mention it. So now that's out of the way, let's get to the first real solution here. So number one, drop the relic gate. This is a kind of massive pain in the butt. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the post here. It clearly says in here that to be able to unlock certain levels of the Datacron, you need these certain relic thresholds. This is really, really bad, honestly. This is not, and I don't see why it's necessary. Like, I get from a monetization point how it could be important to make everyone get that team to Relic 3 or to Relic 5 to spend those resources to get there. But at the same time, this kills engagement, whether you're a free-to-play or a spender, because if you don't have the entire team at Relic 3 or Relic 5, you're kind of hosed. Like, you don't get to use the team at all. This was even clarified in the Q&A. I'll bring this up too, where it clearly says here, in the above example, all members will get the bonus from levels 1 to 3 because the entire squad is Relic 3 or higher. So if you have like a Relic 1 in there, or a Gear 12, or RNG forbid a Gear 11, none of those bonuses are going to come into play. You have to have them Relic 3 to be able to even start, not just one character, 2 or 3 or 4, all 5 of them, or whoever's in the team, have to be above that limit. And this really hits home for me because I have a fairly large account. I have an 8 million account. I know there are larger. I know there's 11 million. So I know there's people who have a lot of stuff that I don't have. But for my top 22 teams, which is what's currently required for Kyber and GAC, you go through them. I only have 2 full teams that are universally above Relic 5, and I don't think I have that many that are even above Relic 3. Like, you go in here, like, this squad is perfectly functional as is. We've been able to kill a lot of Relic dashes or BAMs with it. Our BAM has been perfectly functional as well. It stops a lot of heavy stuff. Our Bad Batch beats everything you would assume they would. They beat Qui-Gon Jinn, they beat General Grievous, and the Omegas R1. This team works just fine. All of these squads that we have in here, we're able to utilize Gear 12s, or low Relic levels, or even, in the rare case, a few Gear 11s, and these squads work just fine. Like, this isn't a point to brag, but I'm in Kyber 1, and I have been for the entirety of this, and I never needed Relic 3s or Relic 5s to be able to get there. Now, this is pretty much a hard wreck to be able to use these. Like, I'm going to be able to apply a very few number of Datacrons, and it's really going to kill, personally, my engagement, and I kind of feel like I'm making this all about me now, but I know just from talking to a lot of people that there's a lot of players that are underneath me as far as GP goes and as far as relics go, and I don't think this is really a significant reason for people to just gear up their, the random squad to relic 3 or relic 5 just to use a temporary bonus. Imperial Troopers are a really good example of that. I have the team pretty much all the way R1 on a few characters, R3, Piet obviously is R8, and then Dark is R5. And let's say that tomorrow, a Datacron comes out for Veers that he needs to be R7. Like, I have to put upwards of 15 relic levels into that team to get a temporary bonus when they were functioning just fine without the relic levels. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not going to. So yeah, this is really my first solution. I dropped the relic gate, and I don't really even want compromise in this area. I don't want it to be relic 1. I don't want it to be gear 12. I don't want it to be gear 11. I don't think it needs to exist. Very similar to how when Galactic Challenges first launched, they had a certain relic threshold to be able to get to them, and they later dropped it just because it was unnecessary. I believe, too, this is unnecessary, because this really pretty much just gives Datacrons to, like, the very end game, where they have universally not every single character, but the vast majority of characters at relic 3 or relic 5 or above. So, yeah, first solution, CG, drop the relic gate, get rid of it. Solution number 2, stop boosting GLs. This is going to be a very big problem, because one of the whole things, and let me pull this up here. This is CG's opening statement here, and again, this isn't to bash them, but just kind of trying to follow their logic or lack thereof here. The whole goal of Datacrons is to introduce new, interesting mechanics that revitalize your collection. They're a way to temporarily raise the power level and usefulness of a wider set of squads, disrupting the long-term, without disrupting the long-term investment goals, journey guide, legendaries, etc. So, if that's your goal, if you're trying to revitalize and renew the GAC meta, why in the world do the first set of Datacrons, I don't think this is actually here. Oh yeah, set 1. Why in the world do the first set of Datacrons specifically call out the best character in 5v5, which is JMK, and the best character in 3v3, which is Rey? Like, that just doesn't make sense. Like, the only thing that is remotely positive about this is the fact that our previously talked about Relegate, a lot of people are likely to, if they have these characters, to already have them Relic 7 and be able to use them. But this, it just doesn't make sense if you're wanting to switch up and revitalize and change the meta, if you are going to give, by CG standards, the most powerful characters in the entire game boosts. And they could have, there were ways around this, like, so Rey requires R7 JTR. Why isn't this JTR? Like, they did that with Grandmaster Yoda. That's pretty cool. Grandmaster Yoda is going to be elevated in a way that he wasn't before, to maybe where he can, this isn't a commentary on Grandmaster Yoda's Datacron, but maybe where he can be a Galactic Legend. But like, why do Galactic Legends need to be stronger? They are already the pinnacle of the game. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me why that's a thing. I don't think they need to be boosted, and I think realistically this is something very easily that CG can cut out if they want. They can just stop including them, and maybe even some of the higher level characters as well. Like, I would not like to see Grand Inquisitor in here. I would not like to see Starkiller in here. I don't want to see Malgus in here. Like, reserve this for, the rest of the characters that someone's passion project they worked on, like Resistance Trooper, that's a good one, or Ayla, like, I actually really kind of like hers, or Mon Mothma, some of the other examples of things that they are doing. But yeah, I don't really get the point of honing in on the Galactic Legends to make them better than they already are, given that they are the best characters in the entire game. So that is point 2, stop boosting GLs. Drop the Relegate, stop boosting GLs. And last but not least, bring down the variables. So the game we play, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, has a ton of variables in it. There's a lot of things that can go a lot of different ways. There's a lot of RNG. That's not really a foreign concept to anyone who's ever played this game. However, Datacrons have way too many variables for a way too small amount of time. Going back to the fact that their identity is that they are temporary. So we actually see a very similar transition in how they are and how they have a lot of variables with mods. So like, let's go ahead and let's pull up Kyle Katarn here, who apparently is missing a mod. We'll go down to this crit chance mod. I guess I'm going to show this off. We have arguably more than three different variables going on at the same time. You can have a set that can be one thing. You can have a primary that has a few options to be another thing. And then you have a range of secondaries that can be in there. And then even within the range of secondaries, they can get different amounts. Like, this obviously rolled speed very well. The offense on it is actually terrible as far as the range goes. We'd really want something more in the 40 category. And mods are a thing that you can keep trying until you eventually get there. And once you eventually get there, you're just kind of done. Like, this 26 speed mod we have here, this isn't gonna go away. Like, this took forever to get. This took so much time and so much investment to match up these three exact variables so that Kyle Katarn could get the amount of crit chance and the amount of speed that he really needs. That is really kind of an issue when it does come to the Datacrons, is that at the end of the day, they are going to be temporary, and because they're temporary, you may just, even if you roll these 100 times, you may never get what exactly you want or what exactly you need to be able to beat someone else's Datacron. So if we go ahead and we pull up the variables for the Datacrons to see what these actually look like. So this shows a pretty good amount of things here. So we have, obviously you have the exact abilities on 6, 9, and 3, but even these stat rolls, like this is a ton of variability between them. Like, this is a better example. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, and 8, they can all, so you have now 6 different areas where you're trying to hit a specific stat, and you not only do you have to try to hit the right one you want, like let's say you're going for Ray and you want health, because you're going to be able to get enough offense from the actual ability, you want to get health on her, and you get 5%, like, you wanted 10 and you roll again, and now you hit protection, and then you're like, okay, so protection is good, you roll again, you get tenacity, and tenacity is again, then you roll health again, you only get 6% health this time. It just kind of means that it's too random. And the problem is you end up just relying on luck way too much to be able to get what you want. And it's not even like a great variable. Like, so the marquee packs, completely different metric, but like, we all know that the RNG on those is terrible. But we all also know that even if you get the worst RNG in the world, after $300, you got a 7-star character. That is not the case with these. You can re-roll and re-roll and re-roll and re-roll, and you can miss your stat every single time. And even when you do eventually get there, in 3 months it's gone. So I think realistically, the best solutions for this is to isolate the stats a little bit more. So we have 6 different areas where the stats can be upgraded: 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8. If they want to isolate this as just one stat, like there's 6 stats in here, right? Health, protection, crit damage, potency, tenacity, LSTO. Just isolate level 1 to health. And then the variance or the RNG becomes, are you going to get a 5%? Are you going to get 10%? Are you going to get an 8%? And then you can re-roll within that to try to max it out. And that, again, I think that'll heighten engagement with it. I know, again, the goal here is for people to spend money or spend time in the game so they get more re-roll materials so that they'll spend them in here. But this really just kind of seems like a bottomless pit. Like, this doesn't seem like it's going to reward a lot of time or a lot of money. It just kind of seems it's the luck of the draw, and you're most likely just going to get screwed. So that is one way that they could reduce the RNG, is to isolate it to one stat, or they could just do the opposite. These could all be, there could be no variance between the different stats here. So like 100 to 175, it wouldn't be that. If it's on level 1, it's always going to be 100. Or it's always going to be 25% tenacity, or it's always going to be 25% potency. And then the variance is whether you have to be, if it's going to be health steal, or if it's going to be health, or if it's going to be protection, or if it's going to be potency. But there's just too many variables here. The chances that you actually get what you want, even if you're a spender, even if you're spending a high amount of time in game, is going to be dangerously low, because you have to do it 9 times. You have to do it 9 times on one Datacron. You're just not going to get there. It's not going to feel rewarding. It's not going to feel good. And that comes back to what we're trying to do here in this video. We're trying to present solutions. We're not just trying to rag on the fact that the variables need to go down, but how they could do them. If they need to isolate one of the stats, or if they need to isolate one of the types, or one of the percentages. It has to be this, or it has to be that. So that's our solutions, guys. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's any other solutions. I know that there's a lot of just general animosity and hate going around for these and I get that. Like I said, in their nature, they are not the funnest mechanic that I have seen, but we have to live with them. So again, let me know what you think. Remember to like and subscribe, and as always, stay awesome.